you know, and he has the mindset, I haven't seen a Knicks rookie that definitive on a floor in a long time, because even Kristaps was tentative, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, he got cocky later in it, but,
So let me
young
give you
RJ
my
came
let
up
me give
there.
you my RJ take. It's and
Okay.
I'm not gonna front. A lot of it is coming from the end of the year Duke, some tournament,
Hmm.
some I watched all of the Knicks summer league games,
Right.
and this is my take on RJ. This is my concern, and it all depends on what the Knicks do. This is RJ. He has every like natural ability thing necessary. Now I don't think his first step is that quick, but like Melo, he gets off the floor very quickly, and
Yeah.
he's physical. Like he's a well built young man, and
Yeah. He's beefy. Pause. Yeah.
so major pause. So he can go to the basket, give contact, and and still score and score through the contact, and that's something you can't teach. That's something you either have or you don't have, and uh, he's nifty with the ball. So it's
Yeah.
not like he'll barrel into people and not be able to do something else. It's just not much else with him on the floor. Now, this is
Right.
what concerns me about him.
Okay.
He is the type of player that once he does a full go around the NBA, the film gets out on him, and somebody figures out how to eliminate him. I saw
That's fine.
this. I'm worried that this system, this coaching staff, does not have the developmental skills to. Because I look at Knox. He comes into this season. He does all the same nonsense. Everything that was wrong with his game is still wrong with his game, and he shows all the natural ability in the world. And
Hmm.
same thing with Frank. Frank has not gotten better. And what I worry about with RJ Barrett is that the tools, the
They won't be developed.
it,
It's a
it,
development. I guess.
that's my core worry. Like I see a lot of older players getting minutes and using a lot of the ball. And I understand Randall could possibly be a future piece, but do you trust the Knicks to develop RJ Barrett?
That is the only thing they can do at this point. That is their challenge. That is what the team has to do, because I want somebody, the starting five that I want, right? Especially if we're only going to win 30 games. Starting five I'd like to see is Frank, RJ, Knox, Randall, Mitch. Now,
That
Mitch
should be
is
the
under.
base lineup. That right there,
Yeah.
that team right there, that five is should be the Knicks base lineup. Good or bad, who finishes doesn't
Good or
matter.
bad, and let them learn it, because what you have is you've got defense at both ends. You got defense at the one, you got defense at the five. You know what I'm saying? RJ can bring the ball up, whatever, but I think what Frank doesn't have offensively in that, he brings other intangibles to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's defense, there's other things, and if he finds that FIBA comfort in his jumper again, people will slough off of him, but you got to respect him. And I think, and then you have, Mitch down low and allow him to rock and roll. And, you can get a good two-man game with him and RJ. You know what I'm saying? And
See,
then Knox and Knox has had this, he has a great shot, and I think, and then Randall is the quote-unquote 24-year-old veteran, quote-unquote veteran, but that's a squad that average age is like 22. And you have them all under great contracts, and you have the birds rights to all of these. So you develop that five And now you have a core that you go, okay, I'm a blah, blah, blah away from that if we have the cap money to spend, and that's what I would like to see.
And the problem with the Knicks is that's not what they're going to do. What does it do for the Knicks? And now let's say Dennis Smith Jr., who has a very, very high upside, but doesn't look like he has any of the intangibles necessary to be great, like to get out of the mess that he's in right now. But we've seen it. It might be glimpses. It might not be consistent, but we've seen Frank eliminate players. We've seen him in other settings.
Smaller guards, yes.
And we've seen him in other settings, go to the basket with confidence, take last second shots. I mean, he's been doing this since he's a kid, but I think every time he makes a mistake, he's worried he's not going to play for 3 days. He can't develop. And they're not giving him simple. They're like saying, all right, we want you to have an NBA 3-pointer. Why not just try to teach him a like 5 different moves to get to the basket? He has a 7-foot wingspan. And I think they want to just make him 3-and-D, and it's just not going to let him develop, and he's going to end up on somebody else's team for a second round pick. And they'll develop him. And
he's going to go somewhere and crush it. And that's my biggest Frank fear. Because I know it's going to happen. Like, he would be like a great Spur under Pop. Like, there's certain people you're like, oh man, that and that's what that's what I put, on the coaching staff is development. Because then, even Dennis Smith Jr., you put him and Trier out there as microwave offense, off the bench. You know what I'm saying? If we're just talking about the youth on the team, not talking about the veterans, and we'll see. But I have my trepidations, but I'm here. I'm out here.
If you had to bet money on it, right? Let's say gun to your head, you got to pick. Who are the 3 players that that have the best chance of breaking the Charlie Ward curse and will get a second contract with the Knicks?
I actually think, do they count the same year? No. I think if Mitch's contract's up first, I think Mitch definitely gets re-signed. Mitch is going to want money though. Well, we'll see. We haven't won a sweetheart deal, but I definitely think RJ re-ups here in New York.
Okay, that has to be. It has to stop, right? It has to be over.
Yeah. No, I think from. I already sense the long game in RJ of like I'm gonna use I'm here, I'm in New York, man. Like I'm going to be a Knick, you know what I'm saying, and I'm going to, I think it was the intention Melo had, but I think he was too far. He was farther along in his career. But I think if this kid, this 19-year-old kid, is like, I'm committed, you know what I'm saying, then let's commit to it and let's do it right. Which leads me to another thing. I do like the front office moves as far as cap flexibility. I think our cans were kicked around on media unfairly, because a few months later, I want to say it was like The Athletic or somebody wrote an article about, the power that these players have now. That, like, look at the trades that went down. You know what I'm saying? That it's just like, nobody thought Paul George was going to get traded. He's out. You know what I'm saying? Westbrook traded. Chris Paul traded. Like, these things are happening, and because of these supermax contracts and some of these big deals, it becomes burdensome. It makes for hard business. You got to think about that. So I really dug all the 2-year deals which were basically all 1-and-1s. You know what I'm saying? And if we can create some continuity with the youth, I'm okay with turning over the veterans where they need to go and finding things that fit with the kids. But you have to use these veterans as chips that either they're helping teach the kids or we realize this kind of player doesn't work with the kids that we have. But that's what it's always got to circle back to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like if I had a critique on that on what the Knicks are doing, it's just that it kind of keeps them from being advantageous, where there could be opportunities where you can use your cap space to get another draft pick. Because
yeah,
really, like I think the Knicks could be good just by having all of their youth take a step forward.
Yeah.
And it's wasteful to me. But okay.
No, I'm saying sorry. And I just wanted to add on, I forgot about that too. And we're flush. We have 6 first-round picks in the next 4 years, which even when you were a Knicks fan, we knew the agony of not being able to draft.
Oh yeah.
It was just swapping bad contract with bad contract. The fact that
I know it as a
we
Knicks
have
fan.
flexibility and draft gamesmanship gives me a ray of hope on this.
And that's almost thing. It's like the Knicks' misfortune is forcing them to do the right thing. You know, like.
And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You know, you do good for one of two reasons. Out of, you know, the betterment of your heart or out of desperation. You know what I'm saying? But something forces you to be like, I gotta do right by this, you know. And plus, you know, I want to see the brothers succeed, man. You know, it's
I would like on one of my irrational nights, I said, I wish the Nets would fire Atkinson for Fizdale, but I'm gonna get back to Fizdale. Let me ask you, what did you see tonight that you really liked about the Knicks?
I see tonight. I liked that fourth quarter push, that comeback. Because again, watching the first quarter of this game, they just looked like they were in such disarray. And
you could tell they wanted to win.
Yeah, but they found, but like they you know, the spacing looked crazy. Everybody was just kind of hodgepodge, and we weren't boxing out. We weren't doing little things, and the ball was getting stuck, and I was concerned. And you know, for every 2 that we made to try to catch up, you guys would make a 3 to kind of extend it even more. And you know, the game got to like a 20-point lead at one point. I think, you know, it was getting out of hand, and I was concerned. You guys are clearly, from a talent standpoint, a way better team than we are, so I wasn't necessarily expecting a win. And I'm not looking for a moral victory either, but the best part of the game to me was these guys fought and clawed back and, you know, made it a game again.
Let me tell you what I saw that I really liked about the Knicks tonight. And, you know, I like, it's not that you could replicate this night in and night out, but I like the way the role players stepped up, you know, and it kind of gave, it gave the young guys a platform to you know, take a step, you know, forward. Like, you know, RJ went to the basket, you know, with the purpose, and he didn't have the greatest game, but you know, by, you know, having that flurry of points, it gives him a chance to like operate in a tight game, and that experience is invaluable.
Exactly. And I like this confidence and this drive of wanting to like will the team back into winning. He showed me a lot. He showed me a lot in his first 2 games, you know. I'm really happy with him.
There's some dog in him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
and yeah.
So tell me